Let them go. A very short turn of phrase that can invoke so many emotions within people. Literally buckling people's knees and kneeling down into the floor, shaking them to their core, enticing very anxious imagery and thoughts into the psyche. The very concept of letting your beloved go is it's a grim one. It really is, because what people don't realize is it is a death of two things. A death of that love, and a death of that path with that person. And the death of the person that you were. And it is in these fires that you're forged, if you so choose to. It's really a good time to go back to the drawing board. Look back honestly at your relationships, or maybe just one particular relationship, and pick apart what you may have wanted to do differently if you had a second go. Or more pragmatically, what you would do differently next time. And the quicker that people learn this truth, the quicker this healing process can be. But you must be open to it. It's not something you can fake. You can't get over someone and try to get past or get around it or grow around it or whatever phrase you want to use. You can't do that, but also in the back of your mind say, oh, I might give it a shot if they were to ever reach out again. That's not how it works. You're disservicing yourself. You're either here or you're there. And you need to be here because they aren't there anymore. I want to tell you, as a 28-year-old man, a story from my past and what I wish I could have, or what I would have probably done differently had I gone through it a second time, right? I was broken up with in August of 2022. It was pretty brutal. I've spoke about it in the past. But needless to say, I thought I was going to be homeless. And this was like the major fumble. This was probably the first time in my life that I loved someone very dearly, but it was just not going to work out. You could have never convinced me at the time. I probably had a toxic amount of optimism at that point. But let's be honest and say that, the fuel is already vapors at that point. So I thought I was going to be homeless. And an apartment winded up in my lap. I can't really get into specifics about it, but someone was very generous. Other than that, that was my new path in life, was to focus on building my life. And honestly, for a little bit, I failed. I was going through the motions, but I think for a long time, I just wanted that person to see me doing better than them. Which is fine. I guess it's harmless bragging at some points, but I didn't realize it at the time. And they said this to me time and time and time again, that it was about pride. I had too much pride. And really, I guess I didn't have much else at the time. That was really the only thing I had. But I had to live like that previously, I had to be optimistic. look in the positives of things because negativity was all around me. But with that, you lose a sense of realism. And, sure, we like to say anything's possible, but it's not the case. It's like I said before, there's a large part where I was, I guess, holding out hope that someone would return, right? And I spent all this time up in my mind about when I think they would come back and or what date I think it would be, or and it's not that I was certain that they came back. It was just when we split, everything was just so sudden. Not necessarily out of the blue, like I guess I knew it was coming in a way, but in another way, I don't know, it came out of left field, and looking back, I think that person was just looking for like an excuse to break up with me, which is fine. So I was like, what's going on, and I just, I didn't want to believe that I was going to have to go on the rest of my days on this planet without that person in my life anymore. So, in a way, I was healing, but in a way, I was hurting myself more in the end, because I didn't want to give up, and maybe that was the battle the entire time, was shelving my pride and accepting defeat for once in my life. And when you're like in a situation like that, it's very volatile. You can swing either way any day at certain points. In the beginning, there were genuinely days I felt that I could do this thing without my ex. I'm living life. There are other days in that time frame where I was just crushed and destroyed and waiting for their return, and it just got so chaotic. So I think in my pride and not in the interest of preserving myself, I wanted to, get a good life going. So I steamrolled and something happened in the fall of 2022 where this individual basically tried to distort events which happened that I'm necessarily not too proud of to begin with. And that hurt for a long time, it was insane to me that this person, broke up with me, kicked me out, now did this, and I was still hurt, and angry, not because I hated them, but because I did love them. And I sat with the most intense anger of my life for about a month. I don't think I felt any other emotion than anger, really. I just felt really aggressive that month, and I got a wake-up call from the universe, and let me show you, or let me tell you, how sad this can get. Probably one of the lowest points of time, and I'd say the 33-month healing journey since that breakup was probably my 4th month on my own. It was December of 2022, the very beginning. And I was dog sitting at my dad and stepmother's house. and watching New Girl, which was sad because that was the show I watched with this particular person that was in my life. I did not have a whole lot going for me at the time. I was pretty much at ground zero. I felt like a complete loser, and I just kind of was doing drugs, even not drugs, but like even back in September, like I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it anymore. I wanted like a peace of mind back, and if I couldn't get that by natural means, I was going to obtain it through chemical means, and that's when I got introduced to kratom and started drinking it a lot to escape emotions for a while, just be numb for a little bit and relaxed. And you know, I never really had any problems with kratom itself, so it just, it is physically dependence, like building, so you have to be careful with it. And I have gotten to points where I've been, especially early on in that breakup, like I was nodding off hardcore, losing consciousness for like 30 seconds, feeling huge surges in my brain and coming back to reality and in and out of these really weird dreams, or headspacey type of dreams. But fast forwarding to that first winter alone, I had like an episode where I thought I was having a heart attack. Can you imagine the lowest point of your life? Because I think mine was December 3rd of 2022. I was in the living room of my dad and stepmother's house, shuffling about, freaking out, thinking I was having heart attack symptoms. And the thing that was playing was a show I watched with my ex, and the only thing on my mind was, I'm gonna die before I find out the conclusive end of this. How fucking sad is that? You think your life's in jeopardy, and all you care about is someone who doesn't give a fuck about you anymore. It doesn't help that there's like these new agey snake oil salesmen. Now, I'm not attacking all like new age occultists or whatever, but what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of business in tarot cards and oracle readings and basically telling heartbroken people to never give up hope, because somehow this person still thinks about you. This person still wants it with you. And that's just not the case, because somebody would say something at a certain point. The truth is, they've moved on. They might think about you the same way that you think about them. But you have to be honest with yourself. If you think you would never get back a hold of them, they probably would never get back a hold of you. And that was just like a rough time. The first, I would say at least the first 9 months after my breakup with the ex, I went through the worst of it. I couldn't escape them. I thought of them every day. I probably thought of them every day for close to 2.5 years of my life. A person that I dated for 5 months and had probably a turbulent, one of the most intense connections with. Turbulent at times as well. About half the time. And, I guess it was the most intense thing I had felt in my life. And perhaps, looking back at it now, it really wasn't the face. I just wanted to feel love like that again. But the thing is you can't just throw yourself into the dating market. You have to take the time and work on yourself. Look, I had been out of that relationship for 1 year and started dating someone else. And by 4 months in, I realized I was still sad over my second relationship, which is shitty to admit out loud. But I did the right thing. I broke it off with that person, sort myself out still, right? I don't think it was until the summer when I started releasing musical projects. I slam a couple different people from back in my life. That's kind of like the main inspiration, but I'm moving away from those topics now because I don't need to talk about these things anymore because I've let them go. So I guess to bring it full circle, this person broke up with me in August 2022, and via a series of either distractions, flat out lies where people were trying to sell me services, or just my own stubbornness, I probably wouldn't say I confidently felt over this person until last summer. So we're talking about, and this is what irks me is sometimes people are like, how could you be so upset? Like, you didn't know this person for a long time. Shouldn't it say something about how intense the connection was? Where 5 months took 24 months to effectively feel grown around through, comfortable with. Exactly. Listen, this is what I think people should be doing. Now, I did it right with my first major breakup. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke weed, I didn't lose myself in anything. I kept a sober mind. I fucked up the second time because I was the one that didn't want it to end this time. So if I couldn't get the content feeling there, I just went to drugs. I leaned a little bit too much on weed at times because I couldn't stand to sit there with my sober thoughts because I just knew they were going to be more intense. And if I couldn't get this person off my mind on substances, well then I knew it was going to be far more potent and greater and probably hurt more if I was sober. But damn it, you have to go through it. You can't fucking sidestep this shit, guys. You have to go through it. The pain will build you into a new person, and until you accept that, you're doomed. You're just going to keep getting fucked up by the same test time and time again. It'll be the different face, different name, different background, but you'll always have the same fucking result. You have to realize, take some time, realize what you want to improve in yourself. You can't just go around expecting a new person in your life if you're not going to work on yourself. Do some soul searching. What do you want to do differently? What about yourself do you not like? And work on those types of things. I just had one of these discussions with myself recently about my music and how I think it really sounds unique and in a way I like, but I need to switch up the subject matter because this is my old life and I don't need it anymore. I've moved away from those areas, and that's probably another reason why I was so sad about it for so long, right? Because I moved to that city to be with that specific person. And, it's over. So you're sitting around for 2.5 years, 3 years after this breakup, and you're like, wow, I'm only here because I tried to make something work with someone, and I probably would have never been here otherwise. But funny enough, that place is what I call home. I don't live there anymore, but it'll always be a home in my heart. You know what I'm saying? And it was just an unforgettable place where I found my footing in this life. But things I would change differently. Definitely go through it sober. Definitely don't get distracted. Don't download Tinder. Don't go onto the TikToks that tell you this person's going to come back, because they're not. They're just simply not. They're not still thinking about you. They're not typing messages out and backspacing and deleting them before sending them. All these people want is your money. Your fucking money. And, you know, you can have your own opinions on tarot cards and whatnot, but I would just hope that you would rather go to like a professional in these things than just take someone's word for it who's gonna, you know, take some money through PayPal or some shit. It's hopium. Literally just hopium. Don't get sucked into the hopium mill. You know, don't make fun of people either that get sucked into it, because nobody's susceptible to anything. It's just like the old saying, nobody's above, or everyone's susceptible to everything. Like, everybody's susceptible to propaganda, like that saying. The most dangerous is the person who's most proud that they would never fall for something. Right? It's kind of like that same principle. Just take the time. Focus on yourself. Take care of yourself. Give yourself some grace and dignity. Don't be so harsh on yourself. But really be serious about advancing yourself. Find skills. I wish maybe I would have moved out way before I did. I think getting the internet and being able to talk to one of my friends, or a couple of my friends again, I guess he was more of like an acquaintance at first, but I feel like we got closer as time went on. So now I consider him a friend. And then, you know, moving out helped me see that it's just not so important. I don't even live there anymore. I'm over 350 miles away. And I realized the more I just focused on myself and just really gave up on looking for love, the more I've noticed romance in the air. Take the time. Enjoy the process. Let it mold you. But stop dicking around about it. Let them go. I hope you enjoyed this little monologue from a 28-year-old burnout. Peace be upon you all. Bye-bye.